Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of the Slow-Paced Knitting Space. My name is Michelle Matthews, and this is a knitting podcast where I'll be talking about knitting, designing, participating in knit-alongs, and also slowing down a bit so that I can fit what I want to do in with what I have to do. Today is February 13th, and I'm coming to you from Northern Alberta, Canada, where it is significantly less cold than it has been recently, but it's still pretty cold. Before I talk about my knitting though, I'd like to show off these earrings I got for Christmas from one of my friends. They're made by a different one of my friends who has an Etsy store where she makes polymer clay earrings. She's on Instagram as ClaybyNiki, and she just makes the most gorgeous things, and she makes knit texture ones as well, and they're really light. Like, they're not gonna sag my ears down by wearing these. And she has the cutest little like knot ones and dangly things and studs, and you should go check her out. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about for my knitting is the baby mitts that I've been working on for my brother's new baby. And I'm keeping them in this project bag that I got in a swap, and it's Doctor Who themed and I just really like it. So these mitts are called Meda and they're made by Petra, and I finished the knitting part. I'll just show one. There. They have these colorwork bits all around so that you never really have to carry large floats. And this nice snowflake. And I made both of them. Oh, and this is the back side. This was a lot of fun because I never had to look at the chart to tell what I was doing on this one. And these are probably really big for a newborn, but that means she can wear them when it gets cold in the fall again. Yeah. I had a lot of fun with this pattern because I took an opportunity to practice color dominance in my colorwork knitting. And color dominance is when you're knitting in colorwork, one of them is just going to be emphasized more. And SweetGeorgia Yarns recently put out a video that really goes into detail talking about color dominance, and I just found it so helpful and inspired me to try knitting these slightly different to see the effect. So I'm going to link that below so that you can see what she has to say about it. But you can see it's subtle, but in one of these, this one I think the light blue was the dominant one and it stands out a little bit more. But in this pattern, the one where the dark blue is dominant, this just looks a smidge crisper. But I think in another pattern, the stitches might get lost if the dark blue is the dominant one, so it kind of, you want to go by the pattern you're in. And also, I knit these at the same time. This one's just a smidge bigger, but a baby won't care. And these are so comfy and soft that I might just make myself one. This is made out of Patons Canadiana, that's the dark blue, and the light blue is, I have the tag, it's Cambridge Fibers Limited, and what it was is a bulk bag of 3 big balls of yarn, and my friend got it from her grandma, and who knows where she got it from, because little old ladies seem to have just enormous stashes of yarn that they just accumulate, and I must admit I'm looking forward to that someday. So I knit these mitts, and what I want to do, because I want them to match the baby shirt that I made in January, is I want to go over with duplicate stitch on the snowflake in this color, which is Red Heart Soft, and then they will match. Also, as the last part of the set, I've been working on baby socks, which had a moment when I was knitting them where I was like, should these be socks or should these be leg warmers? Because leg warmers can go over top of their pajamas. They can be worn anytime. But in the end, I decided to continue with socks. But since she's little, it's got a nice little foot that's big enough for a slightly growing baby. But they can be leg warmer socks anyway. And so this one is not knit from a pattern. This is just a standard basic sock recipe. I cast on 32 stitches. And oh, for the heel, I followed the instructions for a Tin Can Knits baby sock that was available for free, and I don't remember which one. And so it's also knit from the Patterns Canadiana, and then the Cambridge fibers, and then there's just this tiny little detail with the red heart because I want to have enough to duplicate stitch on the mitts, and I don't have very much left. So I did this myself. I didn't get it from anything. I used these little bits to kind of match the the mitt a little bit, and then this stripe pattern to match the shirt a little bit. And so I knit one of these, and I have the other one yet to do. I've been knitting a lot, so I feel like I've gotten so much done, even though everything's still not quite finished. So that's, oh, right, something I want to talk about. When you work colorwork in the round, you're going to have the nice side most of the way around, and because it's knit in a spiral, you're going to have a jog. They're going to be slightly offset, and there are ways to avoid that. One is to do a colorwork pattern that is not supposed to line up. There's going to be a gap here. Or another way is to, when you come, you want to slip that first one instead of knitting it, and so it will be smooth. And that works best for stripes. There's lots of tutorials online that talk about knitting jog-less stripes. But colorwork in the round without any modifications is normally going to make this, and that's okay. If a baby won't care. A lot of designers will just slip it over onto the back, or if it's on a sweater, it might be under the armpit, just in a discreet place where nobody will see it. But I decided that for baby I don't really care, because the baby won't care. Okay, so my next thing that I've been working on is another baby gift for not quite a baby anymore. I've always been a bit behind for my friends having babies, giving them a nice birthday gift when the baby turns 1. And this one is a bit more behind. This baby just turned 2 this week. Yeah. Okay, so this one is, the basic sweater pattern is called Flax by Tin Can Knits, but I've done a lot of modifications. I took colorwork, the pattern normally has no colorwork, and then it has this nice garter stitch pattern on the sleeves. And I've knit flax for 2 of my kids, and I knit it to pattern for one of them, and the other one I added some colorwork. But this one I wanted to knit something really special for my friend. So this sleeve here, this Fair Isle pattern, and right here is the same. That's just from I saw it on Pinterest and followed it around until I found Valerie321 on Ravelry, who has a project where she has these, and I don't remember if she has a chart on her project or if I just took a look at what she knit with it. And then this snowflake is from a collection of Christmas Fair Isle motifs from Church Mouse Yarns, and they just had that online. And so they have a lot of neat stuff. They have a reindeer and some trees and some other things. So those are the sleeves. The sleeves are identical. And then the front, we have this. This is a really common Fair Isle motif, so you can find it almost anywhere. But this one specifically that I got is from a blog. Oh, The blog is the one with the charts, not the Church Mouse yarns. The blog is the one with a bunch of knitting charts, and it's called Would You Like Yarn With That? And she has lots of really neat ones. And then these trees are from a Christmas stocking pattern called Evergreen Christmas Stocking on Ravelry for free. And then these kids playing is Children in the Snow bookmark by Sandra Yeager. And she has so many really cute colorwork patterns, and this one is a paid pattern, and it's intended to be knit as a double knit bookmark, but that you can use it for colorwork too, so I really like that. And then the back has more trees. And so I had a lot of fun figuring out how to take these charts and turn it into the sweater. So what I did was I went on Excel on my computer and I made little squares for how many stitches would be in each row, and then each row down with the increases included, and I colored them to be the main color, and then I just used filling the square with color to put in and move it around how it fit, to center this or that, until I had something that I liked. And so I can show you what I ended up with. Of course, it's all scribbled through because I marked off the lines I was doing, but you can see that's all I'm going from, and it's not very hard. I've always liked fiddling around on the computer and making charts and pictures and things, so that's a lot of fun. If I knew how to do pattern grading and sweaters and stuff, maybe someday I would have a lot of fun making patterns for that, but for now I just like getting something that's plain and putting some stuff on it that I think are nice. So we have the sweater. I knit all of this before in November, and then realized that even though I was knitting the size 2 instructions, I forgot that I was knitting it in DK, which is smaller than what the pattern calls for. The pattern calls for worsted, and so it was going to fit way too small. It wouldn't fit. And so I pulled it all out, put it aside for a few months, because when I reach a setback in my knitting, I usually don't even want to look at it for a while. So I pulled it out again. I had just the collar, and I redid the increases, redid the color work this week. I used up my first ball. This is made out of Knit Picks Swish DK weight in the colorway Marine Heather. I really like this. It's so soft. It does pill, but that's okay. But I put a little marker because I wanted to see how far one ball would be and then keep going with the next one. So I've made a lot of progress on this because I have been knitting constantly with it. But the body is really easy because it's just knit around over and over, and that's really nice. Oh! It's a lot of fun when your nails match your knitting, or when your stitch markers match. I just got braces and completely unintentionally took matchy-matchy to a level that nobody was asking for. And so my teeth match my knitting. And if I keep knitting in blue, they will match until April. I think I'll let my kids pick the next color unless they pick something horrible. I'll probably have pink. Alright. Oh! The color work. The main color on this is the Knit Picks Swish DK, but the gray is this ball that I bought from somebody at my knitting group. This is called Sublime, and this is a Cashmere Silk Merino blend, which part of me is like, why would I put that in the baby project for somebody else's kid? But my husband's phone is connected to his Bluetooth speaker, so that's what that is. I didn't use very much of this, and sometimes you say, well, what else am I going to do with it? So I want to get more yarn, so I need to use the yarn I have. And then this is a nice Patton's Cottage DK, and this yarn is perfectly ordinary, but it's special to me because it used to be my grandma's, and she died when I was 10. And so every now and then something pops up, oh, do you want this yarn that used to be grandma's, or do you want this basket, or this fabric? Or she was a really big crafter. She sewed teddy bears and painted and quilted and knit and you name it, she did it. So any little piece of her is really special. Oh, the last thing that I started working on is some ankle socks. And I started working on them because they're a warm-up pattern for Sock Madness. And if you watched my last video, you might remember that Sock Madness is a knitting competition that takes place in March, but they start registration in February, the whole month. You register, and they have a warm-up pattern, which these patterns are available to anybody. They have 2 ankle sock warm-up patterns. One is called Pink Lemonade, and the other one is called Mock Sadness, and which is a spoonerism of Sock Madness. My family and my friends, we just do spoonerisms all the time. Unintentionally a lot, and like my husband texts back and forth with his friend whenever they think of a particularly good one. So when I saw that it was called Mock Sadness, I was like, I have to do that. And so I cast on. And this had a really unusual sort of cuff, because, well, you cast on the number of stitches and then you don't do ribbing, which what sock doesn't do ribbing first, right? If it's cuffed down. What they did is you do a few rows to get that much of just stockinette, just knit in the round, and then they did a row where you do something else, and then you keep going for a few more, like another inch of just stockinette. So you have the same amount of space below and above this fancy middle space, and then you take it and fold it down and knit those bottom bits together, and it gives you this picot edge. And that's not very descriptive because I don't want to give the pattern away, even though it's free right now. But yeah, and so you have this nice picot edge, and that is the most unusual way I've ever done a picot edge on anything. I've done a picot edge, it might have been a cast on for a sock cuff, and I've done the picot edge cast off on a shawl, but I've never folded it over to make these nice little bumps like that. And then we're going right into the heel flap because these are ankle socks. So I don't have much of a heel flap to show because I just wanted to get this bit done and then work on that baby sweater. These socks are knit out of House a la Mode yarn, which I got when someone was destashing. So it came as a set with this one and then a nice gray one together, and they were called the Autumn Twilight Kit, that she was selling on Instagram and the person bought, and then this person who is local to me was doing with her friend this great big destash of a bunch of yarns, and so I got my first taste of hand-dyed sock yarn, and that was really exciting. And that segues into some knit-alongs that I'm doing. The one is in the sock group Socks from Stash. They're a sock group on Ravelry where they have monthly challenges, and each challenge lasts for 2 months. So there's the January one is still going, which was knit something, I don't remember what it was. February is knit with yarn that is from your 5 oldest yarns. So this, I took a look at my 5 oldest sock yarns, and most of them I've actually already knit and I just have leftovers, but this one was one of the oldest ones. And so you can do ankle socks for socks from stash, but you have to do 2 pairs then, because if some people are doing full socks and some people are doing ankle socks and some people are doing baby socks. They want the workload to equal out. So if you do baby socks, you have to do 4 pairs. If you do ankle socks, you have to do 2 pairs, or you can just do 1 pair of full-length socks. So I'm doing, I don't know if I'll actually get it done, but what I want to do is to do the Mock Sadness socks with this one, my oldest, one of my oldest sock yarns. And then I want to knit a pair of Torg socks as ankle socks in Knit Picks Stroll, and this is the colorway Dove Heather. So I haven't cast those on yet, but I have it ready in my nice sock bag that I sewed this for myself. As well, also, I sewed this bag for myself. It's a lot of fun sewing because it goes so much faster than knitting or crocheting. And you can sew it how you like. I can't do pockets, but I can do a drawstring bag and I can do a zip bag. And, oh, we have this nice Ravenclaw pin that I got at the Harry Potter store in the London airport a few years ago. And this Fearless Sock Knitter pin that I got from EarthtonesGirl on Instagram. I don't like a lot of the sassy stuff, so when I see something that I really like, I'm just like, oh, I have to get this. So we got that one. That is so many rabbit trails. Okay, so Torg Socks, and which is my own design, and this is the full size Torg sock. This will probably be the medium size, or maybe the large, or if I do 4 sizes, it'll be the second largest size. And those will be hopefully coming out sometime this spring. So Torg socks, Mock Sadness socks, baby sweater, baby socks, baby gloves. That's what I've been knitting on. And I'm going to enter them into another knit along group on Ravelry called the Harry Potter Knitting and Crocheting House Cup, which is a Harry Potter, like a role-playing game with knitting prompts. And so I'm going to enter the sweater in for the detention, which is where you take the stuff that was started before the current month. So I started that sweater back in November, and I'll be taking it into detention, and I will, if I finish it, and I will get a badge. They have a badge for a tricky crafting technique, and I think that picking 4 or 5 different pattern motifs and fitting them into this pattern and deciding how to knit that's kind of tricky, even though it's fun. So I'll hopefully get a badge for that, and I'm going to put the baby socks, if I finish them, into a class, and the Sock Madness socks. I like the prompt they have for the potions class, which was to knit something based on this imaginary plant which has pink stems. So the sock yarn that I'm using has pink in it, so I'll enter 1 sock into that and 1 into the herbology class, which was, the prompt was a recurring favorite, and socks are absolutely a recurring favorite for me. Or if I finish both of them and do some work on the Torg socks, then maybe I'll just finagle around to enter them wherever they work. I like having that little extra push to show them off, or push to just a little bit extra feeling of achievement than just finishing them. I don't know. I like being a part of something. So being a part of a knitting challenge, or being part of a knit along, or part of a prompt group where other people will see it and say good job, or see it and say yes, you finished, is a lot of fun. And groups like the Socks from Stash have those extra bonuses where anyone who finishes a sock for the monthly challenge gets put in the monthly draw for a prize. And there's a big list of prizes of designers who are donating a pattern download, or some people with yarn, some people with project bags. And I won a prize for January for finishing my Nordic socks, and the prize was a pattern download up to $8 American. And so what I did, I picked a sock pattern that I really want to knit that I haven't paid for yet. I haven't bought it. And so this is called the Haleakala socks. They're inspired by a volcano on Maui, which I was so blessed enough to be able to go to Maui on my honeymoon, and we actually went to that volcano. So I have yarn that I got from someone else's D-stash, which is, the colorway is inspired by Maui and it's called Maui, and so now I have Maui yarn, Maui sock pattern, and I want to knit those together sometime. Someday. But now I have it ready to go basically. As soon as I have time free or needles free. You want to do this, but you also want to do it when you're excited about it, but you want to do it when you're not supposed to be doing other things. And so it's nice to have things that I planned for, that I'm going to knit this someday, and right now I'm working on that. And I don't know where I'm going with any of this. I like having the yarn and the pattern for projects that I want to do. I like when I can have them ready, because it's once you're ready to knit them, it's almost like getting this kit. I don't get to buy kits very much. I don't know if I've ever bought a kit. But they're so cute and so exciting to see this little yarn with the pattern and all the things you need together. And so sometimes I just get my yarn ready and my pattern ready, and I put them in a baggie and I save them until when I can do them. And then it feels like I'm doing a kit. And I saw somebody recently on Instagram, they had these really cute minis that they were going to knit with, and it turned out that they were leftovers that they just wound up into little mini skeins again and put together and had like this mock minis. And that was kind of fun. It's fun to feel like you're treating yourself with stuff you already have. But speaking of treating myself, I treated myself yesterday at my local yarn store because they had a sale for Valentine's Day, and I was getting my braces, and something I've been really wanting for a long time was sock blockers that fit my husband's feet, because I got some maybe for Christmas once that fit my feet, and his socks just always look so droopy on them, and that's not good for taking pictures. Or what else do you use sock blockers for? So I got these great big ones. I brought the sock right into the store so I could make sure that they fit, and so now I'll be able to take some nice pictures of these, or even just show off any other ones. I like to have pictures for my project pages on Ravelry, but I like them to actually look nice and show the knitting. So now I'll be able to do a bunch with his socks that I've knit, because those are all the ones that don't have pictures. I also treated myself to this Rose Hill DK weight yarn. It's called She's Lily Something, and it's just a tonal bunch of purples. It's really nice. It was on sale. Everything was on sale for 15% off. But this yarn, I don't know if it's a discontinued yarn base or what, because it's supposed to be $30 and they're in there for $15, and they have a few other skeins of yellow and another purple that's for $15 instead of $30. And then she has a bunch of new stuff that's full price, but for $15 instead of $30, and then on the 15% sale. It was just the right time. It was just so nice. So I'm excited. I'll probably make myself something for my neck with this. There's a lot of nice like cowl Dana patterns where they're cowl, but they go into a triangle, which is really good for layering under your winter coat when it's cold out. So I'm gonna take a look at that sometime after I finish all this baby stuff. And the socks, I want to get those ankle socks, the 2 pairs done this month if I can. I don't know if I really will, but I want to try. Oh, I don't have to finish them for this month if I want to enter them in socks for stash. If I finish them this month, I can enter them into the Harry Potter Knit Crochet House Cup. But if I don't, and I finish them next month, the Socks from Stash Challenge goes for 2 months, so I can still enter them. Maybe. Now I'm not sure. I'm second guessing myself. I will check and make a note of that. There's so many sock groups, and some of them are just 1 month, and some of them are 2 months. And it's hard to keep straight. I have to check every time. Sock. And the last thing I bought was some yarn to knit a neck warmer for my son. When I was knitting the baby socks with this dark blue, he asked me to knit him a neck warmer with this color. I don't know how much I'll have left, but he said he wants it to be rainbow. And so I have most of the colors for rainbow. But I picked up some Red Heart Soft in orange, some Patons Canadiana in this musty yellow, and I'll make him a rainbow neck warmer for playing outside. They have not played outside much in the last week because it has been, oh, so cold. It's been -30, between -30 and -40 all week. It gets to -40 at night. In the daytime it's like -30, or some days it's -25, and those are just that kind of temperature when you go outside just for a few minutes. Like I had fingerless mitts and I was putting my groceries in the van, and in that time my fingers just got so cold and like they ached. And so I don't want my kids to be afraid of going outside to play when it's cold, but I also don't want to send my preschoolers and toddler out to play when it is so cold like that. Like I don't even want to go take the compost out in this kind of temperature. I do, but I put on my coat and my hat and my mitts and my boots to do that. Like, it's just that cold. So once it's a little bit warmer, you know, only -15 or so, and they go out, it's still cold, so we'll put a neck warmer on. So I'll make him one. I drew out pictures of neck warmers and had them color what they want me to do, and the first one he colored, if I knit it like that, it would be like doing intarsia in the round with 6 different colors. And so I kindly asked him if he wouldn't mind doing something a little bit more stripy. So he colored this nice little rainbow neck warmer, and my daughter colored like one with blue and yellow and orange, and so I think it'll be fun to knit them something that looks like the picture, and then I can take a picture of both of them together, and that'll be nice. I think that's all I have. And my baby has woken up from her nap, so I should go get her. So thank you to everybody who's been watching and commenting or sending me comments about it. I really appreciate that. It's really kind whenever anyone has something to say. So yeah, thanks for watching, and bye for now.